All right. Welcome, one and all, to the Off the Rails Sports Podcast. Yeah, Brian, you toast it there, brother. You toast it there. If you could, hit that like and subscribe button. And we are at the final weekend of baseball. We are at the beginning, at the bottom of the day of game 6. Hopefully it goes 7. We will see. It's what makes baseball so exciting. But I do want to say at the beginning of this podcast that I hate Brian. I hate Brian. First of all, if this guy was this intuitive, if this guy could see into the future like he predicted what was going to happen in the 3-game series in Dodger Stadium, he should have been giving me lottery numbers, right? If you go back in the time capsule, it is on the podcast, my friends. He predicted the Blue Jays taking 2 out of 3 in Los Angeles. After the historic game 3, I thought to myself, Brian needs to be in a mental asylum. I know I do. I just didn't know he did, but he persevered. Let's real quickly, before we get to game 6, let's go back over the last 3 games. Let's talk about the classic World Series game, game 3. Went 18 innings. It was a thriller. 6-5. Freddie Freeman hits a bomb in the bottom of the 18th to win it for the Dodgers. They take a 2-1 lead. And literally, at the end of that game, I thought I was looking at the Toronto Blue Jays Triple-A team because Springer was out, Bichette was out, everybody was out. What do you say about Game 3 of this World Series, Brian?
Oh, damn, I wanted to go to bed.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
It was very, I think John Smoltz was kind of nailing it once we got to like the 14th inning on when he kept saying, everybody's just going up there trying to hit the game-winning homer.
Right.
And it was obvious. There was a ton of strikeouts on both teams because dudes were just swinging for it. I thought the Blue Jays made a couple of terrible base running mistakes that cost them. The one where the guy got thrown out going first to third. It was a close play, but I think in that situation probably shouldn't have taken the chances on that extra base. And then when the guy was going home, that guy was out by freaking 15 feet, wasn't even close, and Vladdy was up next. That would have, brutal situation. But I want to say this. So we talked about the Dodgers' weakness is the bullpen. Their bullpen did great that night.
Amazing.
And what was most amazing to me is the kid that came in and pitched like the last 3 innings or whatever it was, the rook. I forget his name, but the rookie with the big beard pitched like the last 3 innings. Never pitched way more deeper than he's ever pitched before in an MLB game. And what's interesting is that guy did so good, and we didn't see him again.
Nope. No.
They went back to their good old freaking Blake Trinan and the rest of the guys. And what happened in the next 2 games? Dodgers bullpen kept giving up runs. I mean, I just don't understand the mentality there. This kid just showed you he can respond in the big moment, and they haven't used him again since. I don't know.
Talking about game 3, I understand exactly where you're coming from. I liked how aggressive the Blue Jays were because they felt, this is what I think was going on. They felt they had to be aggressive. They had to put it away. They had to go for the throat, right? I think, and I understand what you're saying. You don't make the last out of an inning at third. First or third out of the inning at third. I understand what you're saying. I thought the bigger blunder was Ohtani getting called out at second base in the 9th inning. I thought that was huge. Also, the other moment in this game was Clayton Kershaw being called in, trying to get out of the inning. And I thought to myself, boy, what a final note on his career if he blows this game. And I would like to say, how did everybody in the world except me know that that was going to be the last time he is going to pitch in this series? And I didn't understand what that was all about. And obviously it was true. You had a great short, and if you can go to the website and look at it, you were championing him to be the game 5 starter. And I thought that was really, really insightful. Why do you think they're carrying him on the World Series roster if they only wanted him to pitch in maybe one inning in the series?
I have no idea. It's mind-boggling because, especially considering, because we talked about this many times in our recent playoff episodes, is the dude pitched great this season. I mean,
Yeah.
he was outstanding.
He
He
was their
spent the first,
sturdiest starter.
yeah, he
He
spent a lot of the
was.
season on the IL in the beginning of the year, but by the time he got off the IL and pitched, he pitched great. And why they're not using him, I have no idea. Uh,
Right.
and if you're not going to use him, why have him on the roster? He'll still get a
Right.
ring if they finish it.
Right.
So what is
And
the point?
the roster spot, as we've seen with their bullpen, is so valuable. Like you're saying, they could bring a kid up to get that slot, maybe pitch in 2 or 3 games during the series.
Exactly. So
You know?
I don't know. Maybe we'll see him again in Toronto coming out of the bullpen. But yeah, it's a mystery to me how a guy that pitched that well for him this season is floating on the roster but not being used, and almost it seems like you said, intentionally.
Honestly, it
I mean, if
seems
that
like
game
another
hadn't gone
stupid
as deep as
Dodgers.
it did, if that game hadn't gone 18 innings, we wouldn't have seen him.
Right. Right.
So, I mean,
We wouldn't
why
have.
is he on the active roster? I don't
It's a
know.
valuable waste of a resource. All right, so let's go to game 4. The Blue Jays have been devastated. They lost an 18-inning game. I thought to myself, honestly, this series is over. I'm not going to BS it here. I thought, how do you come back from that? They did. They came out swinging. Vlad Guerrero showing what Brian has been championing all year about what an amazing hitter he is. Hits the 2-run bomb, gets them on the board. They end up winning 6-2. They get back in the series, tie it up at 2-2. What did you think of game 4?
Game four was, I want to say, kind of a classic response by a team that just got a devastating loss. You know, to come back the next day and just freaking handle it. I mean, like it was nothing. There was no hangover from the 18 inning game. They played great. They pitched great. They hit. They scored. I mean, it showed that there was no momentum swing by the Dodgers winning that big game.
Right.
And let's face it, the Dodgers, they were throwing the comps out there because, game 3 in 2018 with the Red Sox, they had that 18 inning monster game and had the walk off, won it.
Right.
What happened the next day?
Yeah, Red Sox took him down, buddy.
Yeah. So I guess in those situations, winning that long monster game doesn't generate a lot of momentum. It just makes you tired.
Absolutely. And also another sidelight of this game is, and this podcast is not about making Brian look smart and John looking stupid. If you've listened to the podcast, you already know that's the lay of the land. But Brian at the trade deadline said that there are going to be trades that affect the rest of the season that we're not even on our radar. One of them was Toronto getting Shane Bieber from Cleveland. He went 5 1/3 innings in game 4, gave up 1 run, and kept them in this series. That was a pickup they made that literally could give them a World Series ring.
And it was a pickup they made for a guy that was on the injured list and hadn't pitched all season.
Right. Right.
I
Right.
mean, that's making a move, right? With the
Oh,
future in
hell yeah,
mind.
it is.
So kudos to the Blue
All right,
Jays
so now we go to
for
game 5.
taking that.
Yeah, we are. Well, you should take a bow on that one. Game 5, 2-2 in Dodger Stadium. Blue Jays come out, and it was a very tight game, and then they just blew it open. They end up winning 6-1. I guess they just showed what you've been proclaiming all year. I'm not doing the propaganda here. They put the bats on the balls. They don't strike out. They make you field. They make you do everything. And you know what? I think game 5 was emblematic of that.
Yeah, game 5. Geez, Blue Jays just very similar to game 4. They took control right off the bat and just controlled the game and did the whole
Right.
thing. You know,
Yeah.
let's go back to game 3 for a moment. Ohtani
Sure.
at the plate,
Oh,
phenomenal,
yeah.
right? 2 home runs,
Right.
2 doubles, and then intentionally walked like 18 times.
Yeah.
Awesome. And then he comes off that performance. We go to game 4. He's the starter. Didn't pitch great. Had an 0 for 3, I think.
Right.
It just shows you how quick the momentum swing can change. You know? And
I,
let's face it, Fox and everybody else is hyping him up to pitch and hit just like he did against the Brewers. That was a once in a lifetime game. Probably never going to happen again. And
you know what, though? I'm going to disagree with you because he had that game in game 4 against Milwaukee, right? Look, I understand. I maybe I'm not understanding your premise. He's had a terrible series, but this guy puts together one game. It seems like a series that you have never seen before. And I would say that in game 4 of the championship series and also in game 3, where the Dodgers took a 2-1 lead. I mean, this guy was so lethal in the first 9 innings that Toronto said, you know what, let's just put him on base. Doesn't matter. It's the
yeah,
Barry Bonds in 2001, right? Like, we are not going to let this guy
100%.
hit one out of here and lose to him. And then the guys behind him are Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman, who ended up ending that game. It's like, this guy is like defusing a bomb. Yeah, most of the time it goes well, but when it doesn't, everything goes sideways.
100%. Yeah,
All right.
no, I think you're missing my point is as great as he was, that was in one game. And
Yes.
especially in baseball, hot streaks come and go, snap up a finger,
Right.
because what has he done since that game? Not much.
Right.
So
Not much. No.
now he might go to Toronto and hit 2 bombs tonight, and
Sure.
good for him. It's great. But there's just something to be said about the consistency factor. And that's what I've been preaching the whole time. And, Vladdy Guerrero Jr. is the perfect example of that. He's just so consistent across the board. He's not a big home run hitter, but
No.
he hits them when they need him, apparently. But, he's not hitting 40 home runs a year, but they don't need him
No.
to. But
No.
that kid delivers.
He does. He is this year. That is absolutely unequivocally true. Okay, now we're at
And
3-2.
let's not discount that the rookie on Toronto that
Bo
pitched.
Bichette?
No.
Oh, Yusevich? You said,
Yeah, I don't know how to say his
Savage?
name.
You Savage. Yeah, I know. It's early in the
Savage.
morning. You didn't have enough coffee. Continue. You Savage.
That guy pitched great coming back from that big loss too.
Sure.
And they needed that, and they got it from him. He delivered what
They
he
sure
needed
did.
to for his team. So props to him.
Absolutely. So now we roll in Toronto for game 6. I think the biggest question mark is George Springer going to be able to play? He supposedly had a torn oblique muscle. Typically, if this is the regular season, he'd be out a month. I can tell you they're shooting him up with Dr. Feelgood to get him on the field. This is game 6, potentially game 7. Dave Roberts yesterday announced that Ohtani's role for Game 7 could be anywhere from being the opener to being a relief pitcher to playing in the outfield, which means we're going to get him on the field. I don't know how, but we're going to figure that out. What do you think? We're going into Toronto. What do you think we should look for, Brian?
I don't know that they need, I mean, as clutch as the guy's been and as great as he's been in the postseason historically, I don't think they need to go super out of their way to put Springer in that DH role if he's at like 70%. And the reason
Right.
I say that is because that's where they can put Bichette. Because they played, the last up until the World Series without him. He is a defensive liability wherever you put him on the field anyway. So if you want to use him as your DH over a wounded Springer, I would say probably want to go with Bichette on that. And then
Yeah.
as far as Ohtani in Game 7, well, okay, the guy's going to DH. He's going to get all his ABs. The only question should be if they're going to pitch him at all. Putting him in the outfield, all that's going to do is probably weaken their outfielder. They're out because I'm sure the fourth or fifth outfielder on their team is a better defensive outfielder than Ohtani. So why would they put him in the
Absolutely.
outfield? Why would they put him in the
I would
outfield
assume
next
it's
to
to get
Snead?
another guy. I would think they've got somebody on the bench, and I don't know who this would be, that they want to get in a DH. Maybe he's hurting. I don't know. I mean, I didn't understand why you wanted to put him in the outfield where he hasn't played all bloody year. But hey, man, it's Dave Roberts. It's the Dodgers. They're going to do something to f this up. I'm going to say something. I picked the Dodgers to win this series. I think a lot of people did. Brian picked the Blue Jays. I am going to say this is kind of like if you've ever seen the classic movie, All the President's Men, forget the illusion of what you think the Dodgers are. If you are actually being objective and you didn't know names, the Blue Jays are outplaying them in this series. It isn't even close. The Dodgers have won 2 games. I'm not taking that away. But the Blue Jays are the better team. They're going home for the last 2 games. They're going to win this series. What do you think, Brian?
Well, of course, that's what I've been saying this whole time.
I know. You did.
The it and my big thing has always been put the ball in play. Have your pitchers pitch deep into games, things like that. We'll see how the starters go today and how early. I think Roberts will be quicker to the hook today since they're down a game than he's been over the last couple of weeks here in the playoffs. He has been
Right.
letting his starters go longer.
Right.
And the Dodgers got Yamamoto going today, and that dude was so lights out. I
Yeah.
mean, I could see him coming out here and just dominating again, and we got Game 7.
I'm going to say this Yamamoto was amazing, but Gossman was very good in that game, too. Do not
Yep.
act like Gossman is just some also ran. He could have won that game. That game was in the balance in the 7th inning. And then the Dodgers
Yeah, we
tacked on a
talked
couple
about
of
that.
runs.
We
Yeah.
talked about that too on Monday. Uh, I think it's just going to come down to the matter of which starter gives up runs first. And
Right.
and does the lid actually stay on top of the stadium tonight when the Blue Jays do score a run?
Ooh, it's loud. It's loud in the Rogers Dome. Let me
Yeah.
ask you a question. And you obviously caught this series spot on. I thought this series was going to be a repeat of basically, I thought the Milwaukee Brewers and the Toronto Blue Jays were built the same way, right? That they put the bats on the ball, they kept the ball in play, they had starters who went little deeper into the things, and the Dodgers throttled them. And when I looked at this game, I thought, well, this is going to be Milwaukee Brewers 2.0. What do you think is the difference between Milwaukee and Toronto, and why has there been such different success playing the Dodgers?
I think it might be, and who knows, and this is a hard thing to measure, but the Blue Jays are a more experienced team Now, this group of Blue Jays hasn't been to the playoffs a lot. They haven't been to the World Series before, but the players are a little bit older. They've been around a little bit longer. They probably have a little bit more self-confidence. I mean, to say a major leaguer doesn't have any self-confidence is pretty ridiculous. And I'm not saying that the players on the Brewers don't, but going up against that monster Dodger team, right, with all those Hall of Famers on the lineup, and and Ohtani and Yamamoto and all these guys with these big contracts, and the Brewers are the little engine that could, literally, right? They could have been a little overwhelmed and a little bit of disbelief. And man, are we really doing this? Where the Blue Jays, those guys have been around for a while. You know, Bichette and Springer and Vladdy and Gossman. Those guys have been through the league for a while. And they understand the moments, and they probably understand a little bit deeper about how you still got to play the 9 innings. And if you keep chipping away and doing your thing that has proven to you that it works so well, they just have the confidence that they're going to succeed in the end. I think that's what it is. It was more of a mental thing than a physical thing. And the Blue Jays kind of crushed under the pressure. Or I'm sorry, the Brewers crushed under the pressure where the Blue Jays are rising to it.
Yeah, I get, you're right. You're absolutely right. I do think that playing against New York and Boston, 20 plus times a year, you're going into the ultimate pressure cooker. When you come out of New York, you come out of Boston and you go, we took a series there. The Dodgers don't scare us. Milwaukee, conversely, is looking over at, oh, Chicago, oh, Pittsburgh, oh, Cincinnati. And I'm not saying they're not legitimate teams, but there's different levels even inside the MLB, right? There's no harder place to play than Fenway. There's no harder place to play than New York, right? And they beat New York in a series. They went in there and took it from them. And maybe that's the internal confidence that Milwaukee didn't get, beating Chicago.
Yeah,
Cubs.
that's what I would hang it on, but what do I know?
Well, you know what? Obviously, I'm not that smart. You can see from the podcast, hindsight's 2020, and I'm looking for a reason because honestly, I was absolutely 100% wrong going into this series. I thought, they're going to fold like Milwaukee did. And obviously, when you see the results and you go, like I just said, and I'll admit it, they are the better team. They're going to win this series. I don't know if they're going to win in game 6. I don't know if they're going to win in game 7, but they're going to win this series. I wouldn't want to be a Dodger fan. And I have plenty of Dodger fans in my life. And trust me, when the Blue Jays are popping the champagne, I'm going to be texting them, congratulations on winning another NL pennant. Yeah. Let me tell you, that's going to go over strong. That's going to go over great. No Christmas parties for Jay this year. No Christmas parties. How do you want to wrap it up, my friend? What do you think we got to look forward this weekend?
Well, I think we covered it,
Yeah, I
Don't know if it's game 6 or game 7, but I'm pretty confident the Blue Jays are going to finish the series ultimately.
Yeah, for sure. All right. If you can, that's it for Off the Rails for today. Enjoy the World Series. F football on Saturday night. If there's a game 7 and you're watching college football instead of game 7, you are no longer our friends. We do not know you. We are going to exile you. Don't talk to us anymore. But like and subscribe. We always appreciate that.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll see you on Monday on Off the Rails Sports Podcast.